Guys, I'm Gabs. I'm 24 years old now, which is crazy to say. Um, I have a similar journey to Issa, who just talked now. I found out about my MRKH when I was 16. It was a long journey. I feel like it's only recently that I have really come out my shell and started like speaking to other people about how I feel. And luckily I got to meet people like Charlie, Ali, who else?
Hasna,
Yeah, Hasna, Mary,
Aisha.
Aisha, and Ella May, and it's been like such a beautiful like journey so far. I think it's really helped me to like open up and like talk about how I feel about my body. Um, so today I'm talking about sex relationships. Um, and just to let you know, I'm an advocate for Your Pace DSD, who helps DSD families, because there's other DSDs out there, which stands for Difference in Sex Development. There's other DSDs out there that go through similar struggles as us with MRKH. For instance, there's complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, who my friend um, Esme has, and it's quite difficult for them as well. And we're just trying to spread awareness that we're not the only ones. Like, I know today is about us, but there is other people that go through similar things as us. For me, it's been like hard to talk to other people about MRKH, like the relationships in my life. A lot of family members in my family, they don't understand like what it's about. Coming from the background that I've come from, I come from a Black African household, and I think it's quite difficult for people in that culture to grasp what MRKH is without them judging. And I know that is a lot for other people and other cultures as well, but like I can only speak from my experience as a Black African woman. So it's been quite hard. And I think my parents have been very supportive, like extremely supportive. Like they have really tried to understand how I feel about the whole situation. They've given me space, especially from when I first got diagnosed. I kind of ignored it for so many years. So when I was 16, I didn't really speak about it to anyone. Like my cousin's here today, and I didn't really speak about it to her until I was like probably 18, 19. And it wasn't until sorry, it wasn't until like a lot of my friends as well. Some of my friends would even say things like, "Oh, like when we go out, like like we used to live together. When we go out, you never get any like tampons or anything like that." And they asked me why, and then that's when I'd like open up and speak about it. But it took me a long time to get there. So I think anyone who's so confident to come out straight away, like, well done to you, because it's not an easy thing to talk about your body and how you feel and things like that. So yeah, when I got to age 18, I think that's when I started coming out my shell a bit more. And I met other people online, and I started speaking to people, and then I felt a bit more comfortable. And then my healthcare professional, she got in touch with me and she asked me if I wanted to do a talk with DSD families, and they wanted to like make a booklet for people like young people who will go to hospitals and they got this diagnosis and they didn't know how to navigate and what questions to ask and like who to talk to. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I met quite a few people on there. And then after that, I started doing some like graphic designs for them. And like I just got really close to a couple of people who work at DSD families. And that's how I started Your Pace online. Um, and like we just really want to help like younger people come out their shell and feel confident about how they feel about their body and their relationships, because it's not easy to talk to family, friends, and also your significant other, which is what I want to talk to you guys about today. So I've been in a relationship for 4 years, and I think that's one thing that always comes up for young people with MRKH. They always ask, like, what happens if somebody doesn't like me because I have MRKH? What happens if they leave me because I have MRKH? And I remember my dad told me that if they don't like you, then they're not for you. Just leave them. Like you don't need them because they don't love you for you entirely. And I think ever since I met my partner, it kind of really helped me understand that not it's not just you who has problems or has these difficulties in life. My boyfriend also has like healthcare issues. And I remember the first time that I told him about MRKH, and I told him like, oh, I was so scared to tell you because I thought that you wouldn't want to be with me anymore. And then he was like, well, I've got something to tell you about. And it's kind of like we're kind of having this heart to heart. And it's just crazy because I think for so long I was just thinking about myself and that not other people have their own issues. And it's so easy like for everyone to do that, to just think about yourself and not think about other people and what they're going through. And obviously having MRKH, a lot of people don't see that we're going through things because it's not visible. And it's really hard to get people to understand that, yeah, okay, we have a lot of us are born with no womb and things like that. We don't have periods, and people can be quite insensitive because they can't see that. And to them, they're thinking, oh, like it's not a big deal. Like I think the most care that I get when I say things like that is like, oh, are you going to be able to have a baby? Like, that's so sad. Like, I would be sad. That's the typical response for me. And it's kind of like, it's deeper than that. Like, it's growing up thinking things like, am I a woman enough? Like, are people going to love me enough? And things like that. So I think those type of things people kind of brush under the rug. And it's important to, I guess, sit down and really explain to the people that you love what you're really going through on the inside. Like, yes, I have MRKH, but I need you to know that some days I really struggle. Like some days I just feel so bad. Like I'm so upset. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, and I have this and I have that. And it's like, it's a very long journey to accept who you are. In general, like for anybody, but with this on top of it, it feels like it's like you're on the journey, but it feels like you have a bag of bricks on your back that's also weighing you down. So it's hard to get to this acceptance. And sometimes even when I'm there, it could be the smallest thing that somebody says and it sets me right back to the start. And I think it's important to just kind of let yourself like switch off sometimes and let yourself grow and like think about the things that you love and the people that love you and block out all those people who say these insensitive things because you can't really escape that type of thing. There's gonna be people in your life that who are gonna say horrible things about, I don't know, like about how you are, who you are, what you look like, but you really have to, I guess, set that aside and just focus on the people who love you for you. And I think for me, that's what I really did. Like after I got through talking to my boyfriend about MRKH and he accepted it and he told me about his healthcare issues and I accepted it, I think that's when things for me started getting a lot better because it was just like, oh, okay, like if he can accept it and he's from like a similar background to me, other people would accept it too. And like I said before, like my dad said, if they don't accept it, then I don't need them in my life. So after that, that's when I started opening up a lot more and talking to like friends about it. And sometimes I just drop it in like in a conversation just very randomly. And my friends would be like, why are you just saying it like that? Like it's not a big deal. But I think for me, that's the type of person I am. I don't really like talking about myself too much. So when it comes to MRKH, not everyone in my life knows that I have MRKH. I think the people that really matter to me do. And it's not like every day that I have to come and, I don't know, advocate and shout out loud about it. Some people do that. And I think it works for them and it's good for them. But for me, it's more like, if I'm comfortable enough, I'll let you know type thing. Um, and there's some people in my life that I still am quite close to, but they still don't know. Or sometimes I feel like maybe they've forgotten because they'll say something and it's like, oh, you know, like that can't be me type thing. Um, and sometimes I'll just let it pass by. Like I think I'm just that type of person. I'm quite laid back. I don't really want to repeat myself and things like that. But I think when it gets to the point of like exhaustion and like somebody keeps talking about certain things that's really upsetting me, that's when I really do have to take them to the side and really like tell them how I feel and let them know what's going on. And it can be quite a shock to people as well, because I guess in society it's not normal, like we don't really talk about things like this. And just as like the topic as well, sex and everything, we don't really talk openly about this to like our parents or like, I don't know, other family members. So it's quite hard to talk to people about that in general. So I feel like when it comes to these topics and these situations, I feel like you have to like separate yourself from people and like also like I guess go to a quiet private area and like talk to them about it rather than I don't know like just blurting it out sometimes like what I do. It's not because I feel like when you do that sometimes people don't take you as seriously um because it is a serious thing and it is important and I really do feel like I hope in the future that a lot of people like growing up that they will learn about different types of DSDs and it's not so awkward to talk about. It's not so awkward to tell people about how we feel and like our journeys and that sometimes we feel sad because, we know we're, I guess we don't have something, we're missing something. And I think it's just important for us to really, I guess, get that out there and let people know about our journeys because it's only fair, I guess. So yeah, that's what I got to say today.